What's up, guys, and welcome to the video. I've got some Nightfall Strike on Europa from this week's rotation. It's got a Strand Surge and a Solar Surge. I'll be rocking a Strand build with my Hunter. We've also got some Web Mines that will drop from Rank and File. We've got some Overshield and Barrier, as well as increased Avoid damage. And that will be playing in the background while we talk about the recent update from Bungie and their feedback going into the mid-season update. So their goal with this, and I'm going to be picking just from the headlines that interested me. I'm going to leave a link to the entire blog you can see in the description below, so go check it out. But their focus for in-game content specifically, so heroic and legendary content, we're about to see a big buff in a lot of areas, a lot of things that are lacking, I guess, in the eyes of Bungie, and they're using sort of like a benchmark from the way they balance SMGs and bows as their baseline. So we'll go ahead and read straight from the blog. It says, in heroic and legendary content, you should be more likely to one-shot red bar enemies, depending on your weapon type, and even in Grand Masters. We've shaved off how many shots it takes and the time it takes to kill for the weapons against red and orange bar enemies. We want to add that we do not believe we are done with tuning weapon damage in PvE, but this is merely a starting point, and we will revisit it in the coming seasons to make sure everything has a place in the sandbox. So that's cool. They're adjusting a lot of these weapons based on player feedback, I guess their own internal feedback on where they're I guess it's probably based on the usage of the community. Certain weapons are being neglected over others. So, if you're a fan of auto rifles like the Quicksilver Exotic, you're in luck. Auto rifles face steep competition from submachine guns within parts of their range, and having a longer possible engagement distance wasn't doing enough to offset it. We don't want auto rifles to defeat combatants faster than SMGs, as that would flip the script and invalidate at a lower range options instead. But we did feel like they could close the gap substantially. So they're going to be buffing auto rifles by 25%. Now, I don't know what that 25% means. It just says 25%. Is that in its overall DPS and its range of DPS? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Up next, pulse rifles and hand cannons and sidearms. These things, I use these categories a lot. SMGs would probably be my favorite, but next to that, yeah, we're using the bad juju in the gameplay you're seeing with the Ikelos SMG and the corrective measures LMG I got from the Vault of Glass. But when it comes to the hand cannons, sidearms, and pulse rifles, looks like they were considered weaker and harder PvE content for some time, so we wanted to make sure that the buff we gave them was substantial, while at the same time keeping them below the lower ranged options in terms of pure lethality. Pulse rifles have struggled being less effective than scout rifles. Yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. If you're seeing gameplay footage of this, my pulse rifle is good for the barriers, but I mean, it's not a DPS machine at all. Anyways, we also put sidearms into the group because they similarly lagged in damage output compared to the longer ranged SMGs. Heh, that Kellis is what they're talking about, I bet. At these values, pulse rifles should be a more reasonable spot. They should be in a more reasonable spot, and hand cannons should feel like they pack more of a punch. Sidearms should now fall much better into the high risk, high reward category. I agree with that. I agree with that a lot. Looks like they're looking at a 20% increase. If you're rocking the new sidearm from the Strand exotic missions, that thing is a beast right now. So I'm really interested to see what that increase is. Also, if you haven't, make sure to turn on the full auto in your gameplay settings for Destiny, because hand cannons, sidearms, all of that will shoot and it'll save your fingers or thumbs. So that's all I'm saying. Up next, we've got another category getting a slight buff, nothing crazy, but we just mentioned them, scout rifles. They're being very careful when they tune these, apparently, because they offer benefits of a very safe engagement ranges, which is true, paired with unlimited ammo, which is true. So making them too strong instantly turns most in-game PvE into a sit as far away as possible. Hey, how dare you, Bungie? That's a tactic. So they're trying to avoid that stigma. That being said, after the changes to the other weapons, they did need a little bump, so they're getting a 10% buff. Okay. All right, that's fair, Bungie. But these aren't set in stone. They are going to continue to tweak these the entire time through the different seasons. And like I said, those were the things that stood out to me. If you are someone like myself, I'm about 200 hours into my Destiny grind in my Hunter. And in-game content has now kind of been my gear towards, like, we're going to be seeing the Grandmaster's release in April. April 11th will be the Grandmaster release. I'm definitely going to try it. It's going to be my first attempt at one. And to see these buffs maybe be in place by the time that happens, I mean, hey, you know what? I'll take the benefit. I'll take the buff. Sure. Thanks, Bungie. I really appreciate it. One thing I forgot to mention, guys. Sniper rifles. Sniper rifles. I ignore sniper rifles almost entirely. They're just not the kind of weapon for me. But this update, their goal was to have a new place for them in PvE and a PvE meta. And PvP, their inability to kill with 2 body shots puts them at an uneven footing with other sniper rifles. Oh, so we're talking about the rapid fire frame sniper rifles, just so that's clear. In PvP, they're fast RPM, but standard inventory sizes mean I guess they mean magazine sizes, mean that you constantly feel low on ammo. To make them stand out from other sniper subfamilies, we have reduced their recoil by 50%. That means hitting crits on bosses or champions in PvE will be much easier, and taking rapid follow-up shots in PvP is too. We also have increased their inventory stat by 30%, which should give them a lot more rounds to play with in PvE content. Well, that's great. That sounds great. I have not used any snipers in a long time. So if you guys have a really good sniper, leave me a suggestion down in the comments, because after this update, who knows? I might have to look at those rapid fire framed sniper rifles. But yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think about these updates. Will it shake up your meta? Will it change what you're using or how you use it? Let's make sure to leave a like, comment, share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.